GOG? Oh, I want to talk about this.
Oh, okay. Maybe do the thing first, and then I'll do my moral dilemma. I'll do my moral dilemma.
You want me to just read it?
Yeah.
What do you mean by the thing? Okay. GOG commits to preserve Warcraft 1 and 2 despite Blizzard delisting them. Blizzard is trying to force people to buy their new $40 remasters of Warcraft 1 and 2 by delisting the original $15 version from GOG on December 13th. GOG has, however, recently added the games to their preservation program, which has GOG paid devs update the games to keep them running well on modern hardware. The game will still be available for download to those who have purchased it, presumably forever, but would be delisted. Discussion question. Do you think it's fair for Blizzard or other gaming corporations to delist original games to maximize the returns on their remasters? Other examples, Sega delisting Sonic 1 to 3 plus CD for launch of Sonic Origins, Rockstar delisting GTA games for Trilogy Definitive Edition, and etc.
I think it's gotten complicated.
I agree, actually.
I don't think anyone would expect that, say for example, Pulp Fiction VHS tapes, okay? I don't think anyone would expect them to still make those and still sell them, right? But the difference is that if you obtained an old one in that case, it would still work forever. Well, forever-ish. VHS doesn't last forever. The point is just that copy would still exist. Because digital games have no such safeguarding, delisting them for sale is effectively a way, or even bricking the existing copies that are out there is absolutely possible. So I think it gets messier.
Yeah.
Especially as we move past the Warcraft 1 and 2 era into games that won't work at all, even if you still have your old copy or your old license or your old CD key or whatever else it is. In this case, my understanding is that the GOG versions can play on... No, they can't play online, I think. I think they can only play LAN. Shoot. Someone who knows, please let me know in Floatplane chat. If I recall correctly, it's just IP, SPX, whatever. I think it's only LAN.
That's one thing I was going to say is I would like it if the remastered version should bring something to the table that's worth it. And then you could have the remastered or the not remastered. I could see an argument there that it gets confusing for consumers that there's two of the same game and then you want to delist the old one for that reason. But if you're going to charge $40 for this game that was made 20 something years ago,
apparently there's issues with the new remaster.
I'm not surprised.
The aspect ratio is not quite right. Some of the assets are stretched and stuff.
Yeah.
It's LAN, but there's tools to bring it online. Yeah, but when I say online, I mean Battle.net. It doesn't have Battle.net, if I recall correctly. I know what Hamachi is. Okay, yeah. Okay, so these should continue to work.
I've been here before. I was there when the words were written.
Yeah. Apparently Warcraft 2 has Battle.net. So then, oh man, I have so many questions about how all of this is going to work. So will the original Warcraft 2 have Battle.net crossplay with the remaster Warcraft 2?
Big doubt.
I don't know. I guess for me, you can charge as much as you want for a brand new copy of something.
Yeah, sure.
Where I run into trouble is when you brick the old one.
Yeah, me too.
To incentivize people to move to it. So I don't think you're under any obligation to keep selling the old one. I don't expect them to keep selling Pulp Fiction VHSs. If I have to buy the Blu-ray today because I need a copy of it, then I guess that's what I have to buy. As long as that doesn't impact the functionality of the old one. And I guess I just haven't really seen much evidence here that this is all going to still be fine. According to GOG staff, Battle.net will still work past the delisting. So maybe I'm not that mad about it then. But what I will say is that I'm a little torn because I'm not a huge fan of this and I don't know what to do. I was actually going to buy the remaster because I just wanted it. And I think you can get a battle chest that also has the Warcraft 3 remaster, which got a V2 and has apparently still got some issues, but is much better than the original Reforged. And because I wanted to show my kids
The original
Warcraft.
Reforged was...
I heard it was really rough, but the 2.0 is supposed to be much, much better. But I'm not a huge fan of this, and so I don't know what to do because I would like to. I don't have any of my old. I don't have my old copies of Warcraft 1, 2, or 3. I looked through my old CD keys and my old CDs and everything. I don't have any of it anymore. Actually, sorry, I still have my Reign of Chaos key, but that's it. And I don't have multiple copies, so I couldn't play with my kids. Yeah. Play some tower defense or whatever.
If you have CD drives.
Okay, I have CD drives. Virtual CD, let's go, Demon Tools. Anyway, the point is that if I was going to play legit, I wanted to buy. I want these. I want this software. Mm-hmm. So what's the right thing to do here? If I'm upset and I don't really want to give Blizzard any money, right?
I mean, buying it before it's delisted seems fine.
But then I'm still giving them money. But then am I sending a strong enough signal to Blizzard that you can't have my $40, but you can have my $15? Like, is that really sending the right message here?
I mean, the alternative is piracy, which you bought the games.
I bought one copy of the games.
Yeah.
I can certainly afford $40. What's my excuse?
Yeah, but I don't think that's always just what it's about.
I mean, it's a fair amount of what it's about.
Like,
I mean,
I've bought Warcraft 3 more than one time because of losing my CD keys or breaking my CDs back in the day, and I played Warcraft 3 for like a decade. So I ended up needing to buy it more than once. I'm not going to buy it again. If I want that game, I've bought it multiple times already. Blizzard has raked it in from me enough. I have no qualms on that at all.
Interesting. Tell me this. Would that extend to someone else? Let's say you had a Spawn, for example.
If it was multiple copies, then
would you be like,
fair.
I should be able to, they should be entitled to one of the copies I bought 20 years ago, but that I don't have anymore? Yeah. I don't think you'd ever find a software licensing agreement that would have anything like that in it.
Oh, of course not.
Okay, and I don't know if I agree that that's reasonable.
I think so.
Okay. And we've talked about this before. I think both Luke and I...
If I have bought multiple copies, that's my... Yeah.
Luke and I have both been completely upfront that we have at times sailed the high seas and that it's not a matter of, moral judgment or whatever else. We expect everyone to find their own lines, and you might hear us discuss it and go, these guys speak for me, I agree. Or you might feel the exact opposite way, and we're not always going to agree about this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But you know what? We can still be friends. It's okay.
Like, because, it's only because of multiple copies. That's the only reason why. If it was one, I would get another.
I've heard you use logic to pay for games multiple times over because you enjoyed them for so long as well, though.
That too.
And I find that this conflicts with that a little bit.
Interesting. That's an interesting point because I did play a crazy amount of it.
Because you're totally okay with paying like $300 in like Dota skins or whatever if you played it for 10 years.
I still wouldn't spend that much.
Okay, 200 then. Doesn't matter.
Probably still wouldn't spend that much. But I get your point.
150, Luke. It doesn't matter. The point is multiple individual game licenses worth is my point.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Okay, how does this play with you being happy to use Steam Family Sharing then?
Well, Steam Family Sharing is a current license that I actually own and that I didn't lose because I'm irresponsible. Well, no, I mean, you lost it. It's not their fault.
Sure.
That's on you.
Yeah, and I just don't really care.
Yeah.
But does Steam Family Sharing ever allow you running two of the same game?
No.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure.
No, you own one license, and then there are some restrictions on family sharing in terms of like how many people can share libraries. You can have two members of a family unit running the same game as long as any two of them own a license. Yeah.
I knew there was some way to do that,
yes.
But I guess it owns multiple copies.
But you do have to own multiple licenses.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I'm just going to buy the GOG ones. I think that's kind of my plan. But this is
feels like the way to go.
It's a much bigger decision for me because I was going to buy like 4 or 5 copies.
So it stacks.
But then like I kind of want Warcraft 3 anyway. So if I'm just going to buy the battle chest anyway, then I'm not paying $40 for the remasters.
Do you want the remastered part of it?
Not really. Okay. Warcraft 1 is pretty hard to play. I think you can select, is it 4 units at once, Dan? You seem like the kind of person who'd know that.
It's been a long time.
4 units, says Gauntlet Wizard, yeah.
That is brutal.
You can select 4 units at once. I don't believe there's any way to have groups. No, they've upgraded that.
They've lifted that.
There are some quality of life improvements, and...
Oh, it's still capped 16 on the remaster.
That's a lot better than
more.
4.
It's still weird to me that it's capped at all.
And get this. Well, I'm sure there were some limitations. Come on, let's be real. It's an old engine. I don't know.
It's the same engine? There's no way. Why would they have built it in the same engine?
Look, I don't know how they did the remaster. Forget it. The point is just that Warcraft 2 even got a rebalance patch.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, for the first time in like
kind of spicy.
20 years. And it's really good.
It's the same engine. What?
It is a good rebalance patch.
Okay, people are saying contradictory things. Anyways.
They finally nerfed Bloodlust. Which, did you ever play Warcraft 2?
No.
Bloodlust is a big problem when you play as human for 2 reasons. Number 1 is that while heal technically can like heal for the same amount-ish extra that Bloodlust, which is like a damage buff on ogre mages. So you got your so knights and ogres are your equivalent units, because this is back in the equivalency days for RTS.
Yeah.
And then you can upgrade them to ogre mages and paladins. So they've got a couple of abilities, but the most important ones for both of them are Bloodlust and Heal.
Yeah.
So theoretically, about the amount of extra damage that an ogre can do with Bloodlust is about what you could like heal for.
Except when something's dead, it's dead.
Except that ogre mages can also hit buildings.
Oh.
Except that ogre mages also ignore piercing, and I believe the damage is pre-armor buffs. So if you have like heavily upgraded units, it doesn't matter. They will just plow through them. Also, when you're playing against the computer, there's I don't know if I would call it a bug, but certainly an unfair advantage where if they have like 20 ogre mages, they can all, like work on the next guy at the same time as he's working on them, and they can just bloodlust each other instantaneously and then cut a path through anything.
Right.
Much faster than you could ever possibly hope to micromanage heal between your paladins or whatever the case may be.
Oh, wow, yeah. Someone brought up the balance changes. It's like a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, no, they did like a real balance patch, which is kind of exciting. I actually haven't seen everything. I saw the Bloodlust thing. Can I go to your screen?
Yeah.
Okay, what else we got here? Good gravy. Oh yeah, no, they boosted archers and axe throwers and made their upgrades a little less expensive because they were brutal. They were brutal in terms of lumber cost.
Some of these don't seem like huge changes, like Blizzard range going from 12 to 10. I'm assuming that's the like radius of the circle.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a professionally balanced game at some point. Like there's definitely new meta, but it's not like it was complete garbage as it was, so I wouldn't expect huge changes.
Yeah, like Griffin cost, that's significant, but it's not crazy. But some of them are pretty major. Once we get down here, it gets to be a pretty
crazy expensive, and they should be expensive, but they were crazy expensive.
Lumber cost going from nothing to 200 is a thing. Research being faster.
Oh, but way less gold. Because by that stage, by the time you're upgrading your rangers or whatever, gold you should be doing kind of okay for gold, but gold is hard to keep up with, and you should have a ton of lumber.
Okay, so they're trying to make it easier, easier and faster.
As your like your resource availability curve was messed up in some ways, because early in the game when you like need some archers and axe throwers or whatever, you had these totally onerous lumber costs, and you haven't built up enough farms yet, which also, cost lumber, and you haven't got enough, basically you don't have enough peasants yet to build enough farms to support enough peasants to have just like an army of them chopping wood. Yeah. It's sort of the issue early game. And then later on, lumber's like nothing or whatever, but you're probably exhausting your gold mines. So I could see them balancing late game stuff to require less gold.
Some people pointing out if you're balancing, you don't really want to change a lot. Yeah, I know. It's surprising because some of these changes are pretty dramatic, to be clear. like it's interesting that one balance patch has some very dramatic changes and some like very small changes at the same time. Yeah. Anyways,
I'm totally down to do Warcraft 2 at the first Whaleland.
that'd be pretty.
I'm
sick.
like actually stoked.
You got to find stuff that people, which Warcraft 2 should work for this, but you got to find stuff that people don't like actively play. It's always the best way to go.
Warcraft 2, there'd be a huge advantage to having played it at some point for sure.
Yeah. Especially because even like you were saying, the whole equivalency thing, RTS games just have changed a lot. Even though there aren't that many really anymore, they've still changed a lot because equivalency was a pretty big deal. And equivalency didn't change like that either. Like there was I think by Warcraft 3, you don't have equivalency anymore, but units are pretty similar.
StarCraft didn't have equivalency even.
Yeah.
So between Warcraft 2 and StarCraft, okay, so hold on. Warcraft 1 was almost equivalent. I believe Death Knights and Mages had slightly different abilities, but that was it.
Yeah.
Warcraft 2, there were multiple units that had differences. So it was the Ogre Mage and Paladin upgrades where they had different abilities, and Death Knights and Mages had really different abilities. They
Blizzard
had lots of different spells.
Yeah.
Actually, Blizzard is a bad example because Death Knights had Death Rod or something like that. They had an equivalent.
Sure.
So, but there were ones that were very different.
Okay.
And then StarCraft was where equivalency got completely thrown out the window.
Yeah.
And you had Zerg, Protoss,
Three different
Terran, and they were
races.
very, very different.
Yeah.
Death and Decay. That's what it's called.